I appreciate the progress we are making on this topic. Let's look at another comment I received on a video I made called Gay Men Agree with My Theory, Shared Background of Unresolved Trauma, Negative Relationship with Their Father. I want to read this comment. Bryce Alexander had this to say, quote, "You may be right, maybe 99% of gay men have had horrible relationships with their fathers. I am just wondering what is prompting you, a heterosexual man, to speak on it and why? Do you think it's an issue we need to fix because men should have grown up with a strong father figure, or because you have an issue with gay men existing? I think a majority of men, period, have unresolved trauma. As men, we are generally taught to suppress our feelings and act tough regardless of what we are going through. It's not just a gay thing." End quote. I love that comment. This, for me, is about having a conversation that I feel doesn't often happen. I think politics often get in the way. I think religion often gets in the way. That what I'm interested in focusing on is the psychology of it. Not that I'm any kind of professional anything. I'm no psychologist. I'm no psychiatrist. I'm just a random guy on the internet. But I think we're all okay with that, because ultimately, sometimes it's just nice to have somewhat of a challenging conversation with some random guy on the internet, which is, again, all I am. But here's what I'm going to say. If what I was saying had no relevance and no credibility, I don't think I would continue making these videos, because people wouldn't watch them, people wouldn't engage in them, people wouldn't leave comments like this one that allow the conversation to continue. So I definitely want to address this, and I genuinely love this comment. And it ultimately, I knew the conversation would ultimately go here, and that's good. I want to have a conversation that's going somewhere. So here's the one thing I want to address right there. Asking me personally why, what is prompting me? In other words, what's my agenda? What's my agenda? What is prompting me, a heterosexual man, to speak on this topic, and why? Do you think it's an issue that we need to fix? So let's just go ahead and stop right there. Here's what I believe. I believe that what people are not addressing is unresolved trauma. And it's true for all men, for all people. But specifically, I think something that falls under the radar is with gay men, since we're agreeing now that most gay men have a similar backstory, that because of that, because this does exist, because I've hit on something that actually has a valid point on it, that most gay men have unresolved trauma and or a negative relationship with their father, because that's the similar background story, and no one's denying this at this point. I mean, I'm still waiting for exceptions to the rules to show up in the comment section. Instead, it's people just validating my theory. So knowing that there really is some truth to most gay men having a traumatic background, unresolved trauma, and or a negative relationship with their father, knowing that, my heart is to help those people individually on their own terms recognize that and start dealing with it with someone who can help them, not me. I'm just a random guy on the internet. See, here's what I'm saying. I think now that it's more acceptable socially to be gay, especially in the United States, I think what's happening is, while there are some good things as far as gay people not being discriminated against, because that's something I feel very strongly about, I do not want to see anyone gay discriminated against because they're gay. I have a problem with gay people being discriminated against. And hopefully something you can respect about my process of doing these videos is, at no point am I saying gay people shouldn't be allowed to do whatever it is. I'm not saying that. What I'm focusing on, what I keep driving the conversation back to, is the psychology. Because I think how tragic if we know that most gay men have encountered trauma and it's unresolved. And then we're like, okay, well, now it's 2019, so you can get married, you can do whatever you want to do. As a gay man, you don't have to worry about being discriminated like you would have been 30 years ago. Okay? And so for them, okay, good for them, but ultimately, what's not being resolved is the core issue that so many gay men have in common. So my agenda in making these videos is to acknowledge that it's not a coincidence, it's not a phenomenon, this is a shared background. And as individuals, gay men, what I'm ultimately prompting them to do, we use the word prompt in the comment, I'm prompting you to unpack that and deal with that with a professional and get that sorted out. Because that's good for any of us. Like the comment said, don't all men have some kind of trauma in their life, some kind of unresolved issues? And we are taught to suppress it, that sort of thing, be tough. So whether you're gay or not, we should all try to figure out, what are my weaknesses, what's holding me back in life, what in my life did I never unpack and I need to move on past. Because ultimately, if that happens, what I'm not saying is that gay men won't be gay anymore. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, for anyone and everyone, isn't it a good idea to deal with those issues and sort those issues out with a professional? That's what I'm saying. But specifically, I have compassion for men who are gay because of what happened to them when they were young and or their negative relationships with their father, which I cannot relate to either of the two things. I don't know if I've come out and said this in videos. I can't relate to unresolved trauma as a child or a teenager, and I cannot relate to an absent or abusive father. And I'm not saying, well, that's the reason I'm straight. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, as an outsider, I can recognize these themes, and I want people to be able to find a path to peace, to inner peace. This isn't even really about, this video specifically is not even about being gay. It's about helping people find healing emotionally and psychologically. So that's my agenda. Let me see if there's anything else in the comment that I really wanted to address. But that's where I'm coming from. I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to do in there. Let's see. Do you think it's an issue we need to fix because men should grow up having a strong father figure, or because you have an issue with gay men existing? So I feel that after watching the first 7.5 minutes of this video, hopefully I've made it very clear where my heart is, why I'm doing these videos, and I do not have an issue with gay men existing. In fact, I want to help gay men beyond the progression that we've already seen. I want to see them deal with those issues that they all share in common. So if that's my agenda, then clearly I do not have an issue with gay people existing. Again, the goal is not to make you ungay, to not make you attracted to the men. The issue is to help you find inner peace. That's something that I care about for all people. But when I started seeing this pattern, I feel it triggered compassion for me. I feel so many times, so many things, people fix the surface, but they don't fix what's underneath. And I think what I've already seen in my videos, by putting gay men, unresolved trauma, negative relationship with father, those are becoming like trigger words, keywords that are drawing gay men. I've been noticing, I got a lot of new visitors and a lot of new viewers. Never heard of you before, and now you're showing up to these videos. It's not that you don't like the videos, they're very engaging, they're very challenging. So obviously I'm doing something that's actually helping at least us get into the right direction. So no, I do not have an issue with gay men existing. Gay men do exist. In fact, that's I guess it's another video, is I think a lot of people do have an issue with gay people existing, and they make laws against them to discriminate against gay people as if that's going to actually change them being attracted to the same gender. But again, fundamental issue. What about that stuff that you've got to deal with, that we all have to deal with? And I'm firmly, it's just such a ridiculous concept. I'm a good person. No, nobody's a good person. Good people don't exist. Bad people don't exist. We're people, and we've all got issues, and we've got to unpack them. I think that's very important. And I've said the same thing with alcoholics, drug addicts, and people that suffer with depression. And I want there to be comments about that. I keep talking about it. No one's really going that direction. I'm not finding alcoholics, drug addicts, and people who suffer from severe depression. I haven't found exceptions to the rule for them either. I'm seeing all these things that lead to certain things that when you look at people in those categories, they all have the shared background. But it's just that when I talked about alcoholics, drug addicts, and depression, those people don't show up to watch my videos. Gay men do. So if that's who's willing to carry on this conversation with me, then that's who I'm going to make these videos for. There's my agenda. I'm very happy that you're even watching my videos and that I could be a part of this process and at least engage you in this conversation. Obviously, I want to hear from you more. Comments belong right here.